Hello, everyone. My name is Yusuf Imad, and I am currently a student in the Integrated Studies Capstone course. And for the thesis paper, I chose to write about human trafficking and how my concentrations of psychology and human resource development could be used to try and reduce the rate of human trafficking that is occurring across the world. So, a little introduction about the term of human trafficking. Human trafficking is the act of forcing someone to commit in a behavior that is not only against their will but is also illegal. In most cases, it can mean sex trafficking or forced labor. The topic of human trafficking is a complex problem because it requires multiple disciplines working together to create a solution. Using the disciplines of psychology and human resource development, my goal is to create a solution to this complex problem. The purpose of this presentation is to prove that a program can indeed be created to decrease the rate of trafficking and hopefully prevent more trafficking from occurring in the future. So, when people initially think of trafficking, one of the main things they might think about is the sex slave industry. But essentially, the main definition that I would like to use for this presentation is the one provided by Polaris, the business of stealing freedom for profit. And other types of human trafficking that occur besides sex slave industry are forced manual labor. And so the reason why I chose to use the concentrations of psychology and human resource development to create a program to combat this was because for the concentration of psychology, we want to figure out what are the effects of human trafficking and what is the behavior that traffickers exhibit when they decide if my next victim, what kind of economic class are they? Are they looking for a certain height, weight, and stuff like that? Are they looking for a female? Are they looking for a male? And the reason why I chose human resource development was because I'm looking forward to pursuing human resource in either leadership development or employee relations, and I believe this would help me see whether I can use this concentration to come up with a program. So with human resource development, there are many departments that we can choose from, but the main reason I chose HRD was because we have to create a program that is culturally sensitive to all races, because the goal of this program is to do a mock run and hopefully try and see whether we can uh, spread the program across the globe regardless of the cultural and language barriers. So as stated before, human trafficking can be defined as the business of stealing freedom for profit, and human trafficking isn't just what many people think about the sex slave industry, it also includes forced manual labor. So, the interdisciplinary nature of this thesis is that human trafficking requires an interdisciplinary approach because trafficking is a complex problem. And a complex problem is a problem that cannot be solved with just one field of knowledge or concentration. So that's where interdisciplinarians they come in hand, since their degree comes from varying pieces of information, and hopefully using an interdisciplinarian will help with this. So several concentrations of knowledge would have to be used together to reduce the rates of human trafficking around the world. And as stated before, the concentrations I will be using are psychology and human resource development. So the questions we want to answer with these concentrations in regards to psychology is, what do traffickers look for in their next potential victim? What are the effects that trafficking has on the victim's mental health? And what are other things that they might look for? Are they looking for families that are in financial hardship? And also on the human resource development side, we want to create a program that will lower the rates of human trafficking. And we want to make sure that program can be shared with organizations that have the same belief that human trafficking needs to be reduced around the world. And the goal is to share it around the globe, regardless of cultural backgrounds or language barriers. And in order to do that, we need to understand the differing cultural business practices of people across the world. So my findings were that traffickers will try and often target families that are from a low income. As a matter of fact, in my first INTS class, Professor Gibbs, she told us about one of her colleagues that works in an organization with Nepal, and they said one of the techniques that they will use to try and lure in new victims is that they will go to families and promise them with a job that will help them get out of poverty. So victims, they're often afraid to speak out because when researchers are interviewing them, they're looking for a quick answer. Okay, what was the experience like? And it's very insensitive to them, and it makes them feel one-dimensional, and it makes the victims feel like their story isn't important to be heard. So effects of trafficking include depression, self-destructive behavior, anxiety, feelings of isolation, poor self-esteem, difficulty in trusting others, substance abuse, and sexual maladjustment as an adult. So one of the techniques or strategies that traffickers will use is they will try to use false identities so that their crimes cannot be connected together. And this usually is done in cities that might be smaller in the suburban area, so that by using an alias, the officer won't be able to connect crimes based on a person's criminal record. And one of the other techniques that traffickers will try and look for are families that have are victims that have no foundation of family, and these are often victims that maybe their mom or their dad or their grandmother or whomever is involved with drugs, and they're in financial hardship and they don't have the resources to maybe send them to daycare and make sure that they're taken care of and someone's able to watch them. So one of the things that the traffickers will do in this case is fire the victims with kind words and maybe sometimes give them presents to gain their trust. So one of the programs that I found interesting that made me believe that maybe there is a way that a program can be created is the Stop It program in Chicago, Illinois. And the Stop It program is partnered with the Salvation Army, and I believe this program would was very successful because, as stated, they had motivational interviewing. So essentially, what that is they talk with the victim and they ask them, "What do you want to do with your life in the future? What are your goals? What are you?" Kind of like a job interview, but telling them, hey, we know you went through something rough, but you can still make it. And there are also outreach and wraparound programs, and also there are counselors that work with this program. But one of the contradictions that I found in this interdisciplinary research was that this program also used the religion of Christianity. And this would become a problem for if we're trying to share the program globally, because we want to make a program that is culturally sensitive to all backgrounds. And some researchers or some people might say there's a bias saying that the religion of Christianity was one of the main reasons why the program was so successful. But this program uses all these elements and Christianity as a source of comfort for them. So when we decide to expand the program that we're creating, we can do it to fit the religious beliefs of Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, and any other religious affiliation that citizens might have. So, a human resource program that can be used to help lower the rates of trafficking is a progress program that was created by an author named Rolf. And essentially, the progress program creates a hierarchy, and there are several different types of progress programs that are available. And usually, there are engineering ones and scientific ones. And the one we want to use is the scientific program because we're trying to share information and statistics about the rates of trafficking and how we can decrease these rates. And the progress program has a ranking system where there's a researcher, and that researcher goes to a supervisor, and that supervisor goes on to another person, and they report their findings to the next supervisor, and so on. So this right here is just a picture illustrating what a progress program could look like in the future of just collecting data and using that information to find out what can we do to decrease these rates of human trafficking. And next to it is a picture of a nurse, and I chose this picture because I believe when creating this progress program, one of the things that should be essential is hiring nurses, because individuals who work in the healthcare professional world, they understand the symptoms, they can observe and see the physical signs, and maybe hopefully also the mental signs that come with someone being trafficked. So say if the trafficker has to take someone to a hospital or a clinic to take care of maybe STDs or any physical wounds, bruises, lacerations, anything of that sort, the nurse can come to a realization that, hey, there's a very good chance that this person is being trafficked. So the conclusion is that a program can be made to combat the rates of human trafficking, but it must be culturally sensitive to both the victims and the organization using the program to raise awareness about trafficking. So, in order to make sure this program is culturally sensitive, we have to make sure that for at least some people that the questions aren't too probing, saying what was this experience like, what did he do to you, what did he or she do to you, and just asking what their experience was and letting them decide, letting the victims that have survived say what actually happened to them and what they would have done differently, what were the signs that they might have overlooked before. So one of the ways that I believe we can expand the Progress program and reach out to different cultures and organizations is uniting with the Department of Justice, since they have such a large reach, and we could create, since the Department of Justice wants to make sure that rules are followed. This program is against human trafficking, and I believe that the Department of Justice would go along with the stance of this program. So with this program, as I mentioned before, we have to make sure that it is also culturally sensitive. So people from backgrounds that I've learned in my HR classes is people in Asian backgrounds, they have a more formal setting, and someone who's older, they're supposed to be given more respect. So as a human resource major, as a human resource concentration, I've learned that respect and being culturally sensitive to someone shows that the victim understands that the researchers are investing time to learn how to communicate with that person, not just treating them as a one-dimensional figure, as discussed before. So being an interdisciplinarian, I believe, proves that concentrations like psychology and human resource development that may be on the opposite side of the spectrum, they can be used together to illustrate that interdisciplinarians or even just people from different majors can work with researchers to contact in order to reduce rates of trafficking. And by using both psychology and human resource development, we will allow the dream of reducing trafficking around the world to seem more attainable. I hope everyone enjoyed this presentation, and good luck to everyone taking finals, and congratulations to anyone that's graduating this semester.